It's all about connection, and this is what we are creating the event for. People from different ages, from backgrounds or professions.
Inspiration for new nomads, inspired because you can be very close to the speakers, to other people.
Connection, inclusion, and inspiration. What a beautiful way to sum up the Alicante Nomad Summit. Welcome to the Travel Not So Cute podcast. Welcome, navigators, to another episode. And today I'm excited to cover all of the details of the Alicante Nomad Summit. We have the team members, Emiliya, Fabian, and Johanna, to talk to us about what to expect and all of the exciting things that are to come at the Nomad Summit, which is going to be April 4th and 5th. So welcome to today's episode, and let's jump in. Yeah, hi, Johanna. Hi, Fabian. Hi, Emiliya. Welcome. So great to have you here.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for inviting
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you. I know you guys are so busy with the details and of the planning and organization of the summit, and it's coming up really soon. So I really appreciate your time to share some information with us. So first and foremost, I would love to have you introduce yourselves and share a bit about your background and how you all came together doing the summit.
So I'm Emiliya and I'm Bulgarian. I grew up in Bulgaria and I live in Alicante now. I arrived about a year and a half ago, and I am a digital nomad on and off for the last 6 years. And when I say on and off, it means sometimes I had to go back to the office, which was very hard, and I was always looking for this balance. I work in marketing at the moment at a startup accelerator which operates globally, but I also tried entrepreneurship and many different things, which all led me to Spain. I fell in love with Spain, and that's how I ended up here.
Amazing. So 6 years of digital nomading. That's a long time.
Well, I was more active in the beginning, and now I have a base, but I travel. Before it was mostly traveling, and now it is different. I found this more excessive. So at the moment, my base is Alicante, but I also love going for a month or two somewhere to change the setting. So I am maybe halfway digital nomad.
Yeah, I think that's the general trend that a lot of us go through is the longer that you travel, the more that you realize you have to slow it down, prioritize other things, and get a balance. And Johanna, let's start with you next. What was, I guess, your background and your journey to digital nomading, and what brought you to Alicante as well?
It's been also a bit like a winding road. I've been a nomad, I would say, almost my whole life because my dad used to work as a diplomat. So we used to just move every few years. And so I was born in Germany. My mom is Chilean. My father is German. Since I was 7, we used to move every 4 years. So I grew up in Germany at the beginning. Then I moved to Spain and Bolivia and Mexico. Then went back to Germany, then went to Switzerland to work, and now ended up in Spain because my family lives here. So I was actually just planning to stay here for a while. Then I got a remote job that I could do from here. Spontaneously ended up staying. My plan was also like to travel a bit more while working, but I have a cat, which is actually lying next to me. So it's also like easier when you have a pet to just have a home base and then travel from there. And here it's very convenient because my family can take care of the cat while I'm gone. So I do a bit like Emiliya. I travel and I come back, but I also like coming back to a fixed home that I can really call my home and where I have my stuff. So I enjoy that. And I work for a publisher. I'm an editor. And this is something I can do remotely very well. It's a company that used to be office-based, but now is remote. So it's convenient. And I work with authors in Spain.
Wow. And Fabian, can you share with us what your background is, your nomading, what brought you to Alicante?
For me, I actually got to New Alicante when I was 21, right in university. I did like an exchange and I came to Alicante. And I think it was one of the most influential times of my life so far. And after I went back to Germany, it was only 8 to 9 months that I was staying there. Then I went back to Germany to finish university. I started working, but I always had this reference in my mind of how different my life was feeling in Spain or in Alicante. So I think with COVID and also with working, I realized I wanted to change something. So I quit my job, I quit my flat, and I came back to Spain, to Alicante, to start a new chapter. And it was not my plan in the beginning to start working remotely. I had this as a possibility, and then it started to manifest, and I found I had a chance to start working as a freelancer. And so basically now for about 1 year, I'm a freelancer. And for now, I haven't traveled so much, but I started to really create also more freedom for myself with my freelance work. I also do believe, for me, it's important to have a little bit a base. I think that's what I'm now, after having been here for 1 year, I really start to feel that my base is here in Alicante, or my home, if you want to call it. And I'm super eager to explore now from here. Also, I've been all over Spain, but also now maybe slowly expanding a little bit the reach.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like all three of you kind of got called to stay in Alicante longer maybe than you had originally anticipated, but that it's served as like a really good city, a really good base for you to do remote work from, and to also have a point to travel from and come back to as well. What is what is the special factor in Alicante that makes it a really good base? Because as digital nomads, we're always looking for that like beautiful combination of strong Wi-Fi, a good community, things to do close to a nearby airport. There's a lot of factors, and also like the standard of living compared to the cost of living is also important. So can one of you explain like Alicante and really just what you feel makes it such a good city to stay in for longer term?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of what you said. The cost of living, it's true that it's going up now. So rents are increasing, and it makes it like less affordable. But I think the community is a big point, at least for me also. There is a great community forming and lots of digital nomads that have made Alicante more their base. For me, that's one of the main things. Also the climate. It's pretty sunny. You can do lots of things outside. Like that adds to the quality of life, right? Some things that you don't have, I didn't have in Switzerland, you don't have in Germany. Like you spend a lot of time inside in the winter, and here you can do like yoga all year outside, beach volleyball, lots of like active things, so you can keep healthy as well while working, which I think makes it like a good work-life balance place.
No, I just had this thought. So actually, the people coming from Alicante or from close, they call it La Terreta, which means like Little Earth. And I think it's a term that people use for the Comunidad Valenciana, the region where Alicante is part of. It's called La Terreta. And for me, I really like this concept because it kind of implies the region of Alicante. It has everything that you need. You have the sea, you have the mountains, you have desert, you have forests. If you travel like 1 hour from Alicante, you have super green mountains, totally remote with little like crystal lakes. This concept of La Terreta really resonates with me because it really, to some extent, feels, especially if you are into nature and outdoors, that you have like a little bit like a miniature version of the whole, like very different landscapes and regions in one very condensed area. And it's also quite easy to travel because Spain has quite a good infrastructure with public transport. It's true that to go to the mountains, it's a bit hard by public transport, but the whole coast is really easy connected. There's buses, there's lanes. So I do agree with Johanna, and I think the city and especially the surroundings. If you consider Alicante in a bigger context, it has so much to offer, like so much variety. And 1.5 years that I've been here, like continue to discover new places, and I'm just more excited about all the new things that I see and that haven't been on my map yet.
It's exciting. Even having you guys describe Alicante to me, because I've never been, I'm already like, sign me up. When is my plane ticket over? Because that's actually like exactly what we're looking for too when you're wanting to stay somewhere longer term, is a place where you have the ability to do things outdoors and you're not restricted by the weather, and when it's gray, I don't feel like doing anything at all, and so when it is sun, you feel more motivated, and if there's the community there as well, then you can do things together. And if there's variances in the type of thing, like the mountains and the sea, there's just more variety, so you don't get as bored easily as well. I love that. Emiliya, do you have anything else to add?
I'm thinking Alicante has this special power to capture people inside, and I have seen it with so many people, and it's what happened to me. And I think to Fabian, people come here to travel or to study, and they have other plans to go somewhere else, but then they love it so much here, and they just stay. It's very common.
I love that. And it's funny because I will be joining you all in Alicante, but my original plan was to live long term in Madrid. So I have a feeling that I'm going to go to Alicante and I might not leave. So we'll see what
Be careful.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and then I'll be on this podcast with you guys a couple years later, be like, yeah, I went to Alicante and I never left.
It's also very close to Madrid. You can get there in 2.5 hours by train.
Yeah, so I could have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you can have the big city and the sea.
And the sea at the same time. Yeah, the transportation, having access to trains, that's a really important factor as well, because that is really limiting in some of the more remote areas that I've been to. So I would love to know, so it sounds like you all do remote work, that is your full-time work. And then you also are building this Alicante Nomad Summit. So can you all describe how you found your way to this team?
I was asked by JB and Maria, who had the idea of starting this event. I think it was mid-December or something, just before Christmas. And I already knew Emiliya, like we have been at some events together, also organized by Nomadway. I know Maria and JB, of course. I didn't know Fabian, but yeah, like they kind of made this whole team. They built it up. And I think like we combine a lot of qualities that are like work like very well together. Emiliya coming from marketing, me coming from like communication. I used to work in public relations, and Fabian like helping with the design part. And now it feels like we've been working together on this like for a long time, but it's just been a few months. Like just before Christmas, we had our first meeting, and it feels like we complement each other very well.
Yeah, it looks as if that like you guys have been doing this for a while and working together for a while as well. So that's surprising that it's only been since before Christmas. And to launch a summit like this in such a short time frame, you need to be able to have a good team behind it. So that's amazing that you've found those complementary skills within each other.
In November, actually, the City Hall of Alicante created a congress about remote work. And after this congress, all of us were also super inspired that we said, wow, look, even the city is also actually on our side. They want the same things than we do. And then we said, let's create something from the community for the community. And this is also a little bit how this idea was born, to kind of go after this event from the city hall and create something by ourselves. And actually now we have been in touch with the city hall, and now we got their back. So they're interested and they are supporting us as well. So we kind of also see this a little bit in kind of in a synergy with the city itself, and to say, hey, how can we also establish the nomad community from the community itself in the city of Alicante? And I think there has been a lot of interest from different stakeholders in the city and around the city. So let's see where this is going to. I think also people look at this congress with quite a lot of interest. I'm excited to where this is going to lead and what the situation will be next year, because also the idea is to create something ongoing, to start something that then develops into something bigger, maybe also by time.
And the theme is sustainability in remote work. Is that correct? And is that the main mission that is really behind Alicante Nomad Summit, or what is the shared mission between your team and also what the city is looking for in this event?
The number one mission is to make Alicante more visible, and we want more people to know and hear about it, so that we have better services and better infrastructure, and small businesses will flourish as well. And this is a goal of the Ayuntamiento as well, the municipality. So the organizations that we're partnering with have been working for this, but in a different way. For example, there is one innovation organization, and we have some audience that is similar. We have some alignment, but not exactly, because they don't have a way to speak to the digital nomads. So we are like the missing piece in the puzzle. That's how we met. So this is number one mission, but then we have sustainability and future of work.
And I think looking at the stage of the world, I think you cannot unsee it. I mean, just in the past month, so many things have happened, like the wildfires in Los Angeles, but also just very close to Valencia, actually, like not so far from Alicante, there was this big flood before Christmas, which was very devastating, and nobody expected it to be so strong. So that all the signs are there that we need to change the way that we act, and that we do economy, and that our societies are working also, and that actually sustainability is something much more fundamental, maybe, that what we usually consider as sustainable, to like recycle, to not fly so much. I think it goes much deeper. And I think a lot of, especially like digital nomads or people going entrepreneurs, people going like, let's say, a more unconventional way, maybe, I think often they have a very strong level, because oftentimes it's more what we do in a professional role than what we do in a personal role that actually has a lot of influence, no? For example, my background is in architecture, and in architecture, the construction industry has a lot of influence on the carbon emissions. So if you're building smart, and if you're designing a building, you're able to save, like, let's say 25% of emissions from a building, and this equals to, let's say, 150 flights from Europe to New Zealand. So just by changing one building, your impact is so much bigger than if you would avoid flying. And so this is just one example, no, where we say actually we have to look at sustainability on a more systemic level, and I think the summit could wherever you bring people together from different backgrounds, I think there can happen a lot of synergies and ideas, because I mean, the answers are not, we need just more answers, and we need to be more creative and maybe move faster to really also develop solutions to what is happening. And I think this is in line, of course, also with the city of Alicante, that also wants to position themselves as a city that drives sustainability and digitalization, and how to bring these two together. So these were just some thoughts. But we really do believe that sustainability is a very important aspect, and to look at it from also different lenses. It's not only about environmental sustainability, but I think this encompasses a lot of different fields and frames of view as well.
Yeah, I think we are also looking at the nomads on an individual level. Like, it's the system that we would like to look at, but also like the individual nomad, like how can you also live and work sustainably in order to maintain this way of life? Because I think it can be very fast paced, like people that are traveling all the time and then they get burned out. So we want to look at like how we can live this life long term and like be healthy. I think this is also like something that maybe you touched on in your podcast, like how to live this life for yourself that is not like damaging the environment, but also not damaging yourself because you want to do things too fast, or you want to like see everything. I think like digital nomads can be very intense because they want to live so much and experience, but we want to also discuss how we can still be healthy and look at mental health and all these things as well.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely dive into that as well. The different lenses. As a traveler, you think you're going to work and out of different locations, but when you really take a look at, you and the system and everything, there's a lot more impact that you have that you don't realize by doing what you're doing. And there's levels of connection as well that you need to take a look at. You have to connect with yourself and make sure that you're not using travel as a distraction from maybe some underlying issues that you're running away from, and also being aware and connecting with others in community, because you aren't just siloed when you are going somewhere new. You are impacting those around you, whether that be like locals or other travelers, the city as a whole. You being there does have an impact, and you want that to be a net positive impact to the locations and the people that you're connecting with. And then also just the overall, like the larger sense of the structures in place and what does that mean to be able to remote work and maybe some of the more like regulations behind it. And yeah, there's so many lenses, as you mentioned. And I know that you're going to be covering that in Alicante Nomad Summit, but can you give us a bit of a peek of maybe some of the speeches or sessions that cover some of these particular lenses and some that you're excited to see and also share on this podcast today?
We have now over 20 speakers that we have split into three different pillars. The first one, we call it Live Sustainably. Then we have Work Sustainably and Grow Sustainably, which is about sustainable businesses in the classic sense of sustainability practices. Then there is the mindfulness part and mental health and physical health part. We have very interesting speakers there talking about how to be healthy on the road, how to manage transitioning from corporate world to freelancing on remote work. And we have you in this part, people talking about communications, about relationships from distance, sometimes raising a family on the road while traveling. And last but not least, we have the remote work, we also call it future of work part, where our speakers are talking about AI, new technologies, new practices, about being more efficient, more productive. So these are the main three themes. And also we have a lot of activities included. We're gonna have the event in a beautiful location with different hosts and terrace and networking places so that people can connect with each other. Some of the highlights, AI, of course, it's super trendy. We can't go without it. We have Linda Stark. She's a member of our community talking about agile thinking. So bringing practices from the startup world in order to be more productive. We have a lot of people who live in Alicante, some of them. Then we have other names who also speak at other Digital Nomad Summit, and many surprises. The agenda is ready, but we are still thinking of ways to make it more interactive, including more content, more surprises. So it's still work in progress. But we already have a lot of speakers and they're all very exciting and we're very excited about meeting them.
Maybe one thing to add, that we're also thinking, or we're developing also different kind of formats, like for example, like more like a workshop setting or like a panel discussion, so that it will not only be, like keynotes, but also that actually the participants also get a chance to be maybe even in a smaller group in a workshop setting where they can really also ask their questions, where there is not so much distance also to the person on stage, but where you can maybe also feel more easygoing with asking your questions. So it's also a little bit, we're currently also shaping this like around the topics and to see also how we might be able to fit in like a workshop or like a panel discussion. So it all depends still a bit on our spaces, and also how Emiliya said, we also don't want to already unveil everything. But yeah, this was also a little bit in our mind, like to make it as interactive and also as inspiring as possible.
Yeah, I love that. And like the biggest takeaways from attending these conferences for me as a nomad is really the networking, the opportunity to learn from experts doing things in fields that I am interested in or I've never even thought about, but you get a taste of that during the summit and you have access to the speakers to have conversations and the environments that allow you to actually connect with them and have these deeper conversations. That is very rare because a lot of people are so busy and they're doing such cool things. And when else do you get a chance to actually be in, like afterwards you go to a dinner and you actually can talk to them about the work that they're doing. So I love that. And that's really exciting that you're creating those opportunities for people to connect. So as a nomad or an attendee of this conference, who is this summit designed for specifically? Is it new nomads? Is it slow-mads or remote workers versus freelancers versus entrepreneurs? There's really a mix of, in the community, there's a wide variance. So I'm wondering if there's a specific target that you have for the attendees.
We are learning and we are very inclusive. The whole idea is to be super inclusive, and meet everyone on the way and learn what people are interested in. So the event is for everyone. The topic is, the theme is more general, and the aim is to connect on a more human level. We're going to give a lot of practical tips, but it is not niche. It's for everyone. And then it's an experiment as well. So we want to see who will be most interested, and we want to hear all the feedback as much as we can.
Yeah. And also I think like what the aim is for us is to bring together the local digital nomad community, Spanish, but international people as well, and also people coming from abroad. It's supposed to be, as you say, a networking opportunity and opportunity for people who might just come here for a few days to get to know the community and like the area, being able to enjoy these like activities outside. I think this is what we want, like not just the network, but also like more the social part, like to encourage people to just meet and be approachable. And as we said, like it's the first time, so we will see who will show up and what the vibe is like. I think it's also a benefit at the beginning when conferences are still small, that you get this more intimate kind of vibe. You feel less intimidated maybe. So hopefully that helps as well for people to come and like feel they can ask questions, they can be open.
Yeah, I think that's really important. For someone who wants to become a digital nomad and has not yet started down this lifestyle, do you think that this event would also be beneficial for them? It's not just specific to people already in the lifestyle, right?
No, I would say definitely, because a lot of the speakers, they will also speak from their own experience, no, and share practical tips, and also share, I guess also how you're doing it a lot, no, in your podcast, also sharing from your personal experience. And I think by meeting people who are doing what maybe you aspire to do, you also see that it's a possibility for yourself, no? Like I always had this in my mind, like when I was living in my old, let's call it my old life, when I was still living in Germany, I was working in an office. There were not the people in this environment that had this lifestyle, no? So for me, this was very far away. It was like, okay, some people on Instagram maybe are able to have this lifestyle, some influencers, but the more you are in the community and the more you interact, you realize, wow, there's actually 1 million ways to do it. You don't even have to be an entrepreneur, freelancer, you can find a remote job. So I think this really like to mingle and to come to places like this where people who are doing what you aspire to do, I think it's a great opportunity for personal growth, no? So I would encourage anyone who is not considering themselves a digital nomad to just come and try it out. Even like myself, like sometimes I'm like, I also haven't traveled the world for 10 years, you know, as a digital nomad. I'm also just starting out in a way, just by organizing this event. I already learned so many cool things and so many new angles and possibilities. I saw that I really do believe that it can be like a catalyst, I think, for many people just starting off.
Yeah, beautiful word, catalyst. And there's so many forums, so many digital nomad forums on Facebook, just looking at that one platform, where daily there are questions of how to become a digital nomad. And it's not as far away as you think. And the first step is surrounding yourself with like-minded people who either want a similar lifestyle or are already steps ahead in living that lifestyle. So these conferences are such a great way to put yourself in that place and actually, as you mentioned, make it feel possible for you and really break down that barrier. Thinking, some people think of it in that Instagram format, or it's on a platform that they can never do because of money or because of lifestyle or passports. But when you meet someone else who might have some similarities to your situation, it does make it more accessible. So that's such a beautiful thing that you all are creating for this as well.
Yeah, right. And also like we try to put an emphasis on having a bit of a diversity in the speakers, like people with very different backgrounds and different nationalities, professions. So we also want to show, like, as you were saying, there are different paths to get there. There is not one way that you have to take and this is how you need to do it, but like there are several ways. and they can work for you. It's just trying out and being inspired. And I think this is the main thing we want to achieve for people who are aspiring this kind of lifestyle.
It's amazing how many people work remotely, but actually it never occurred to them that they can be part of a community and they can travel and they can simply go even to a coffee shop and feel better and connect and network with more people, and they just stay at home, especially after COVID. And they say they love it, and some of them they actually get depressed, but they don't have the tools to change that, and they don't have the resources and the information. So this type of conferences would give a lot of ideas. It will be very inspiring for many people.
Yeah, amazing point. Yeah, especially after COVID, a lot of people were forced into remote whether they wanted to or not. And the people that really thrived in this lifestyle were the ones that sought out community because, you know, that was the first thing to go when we were all isolated. And really that is one of the ways to make this lifestyle sustainable is to surround yourself with community. And do you feel with Alicante Nomad Summit, what is the role that you feel that this summit plays in building that stronger sense of community within Alicante?
I think it's about going out of the borders of Alicante and having more information and more communication channels. Then it's about being grounded and feeling that you belong wherever you are. Even when you're traveling a lot, you can still maintain these connections. When you meet people on the road that you like, and then you move to the next place, you don't have to break the connection and then just forget. You can stay connected. You can meet at events like that. You can plan things together. You can have company when you're traveling. And you can also, at such events, at our event, I can say for sure, you will learn a lot. People will find out about so many new methodologies, frameworks, even technologies, but they will also find friends. So it is a lot. And such a small place as Alicante can actually have a big impact.
Yeah, I think that's a good point also what you said, like it goes like beyond the borders of Alicante, because Alicante is like part of the Comunidad Valenciana. So there is Valencia, which is becoming a major digital nomad hub actually. So we will also have speakers coming from there, possibly attendants. And yeah, like this used to be a very touristic area. So like lots of tourists, like families or like retired people used to come here to this part of the Mediterranean. But now it's becoming more and more important also for digital nomads. And I think it's a way also to bring together like these people that might not be in Alicante every day and to come to all the events that we organize, but like to come to a bigger event that could be a possibility for them, and to find out that there are more people working remotely in this area.
Yeah, I would add on this, and I also think it's in the end it's also about visibility, you know, like as Johanna, as you said, or Spain already has a lot of like, let's say, major hubs for digital nomads, no? Like we mentioned Madrid, where which is also on your list, no, of places to live. And then we have Malaga, we already have cities. And as we said previously, Spain has also a very good public transport. So to go from Madrid to Alicante, you can do it in 2 hours or 2 hours, 15 minutes or so. So everything is very well connected. And I think it's also just to put Alicante on the map. And I think an event like this, as Johanna said, it's also like it has maybe creates a little bit ripple effect, no? That maybe we don't know what will happen after the event, but we do believe that it will help to place Alicante more on the map, no, both in Spain but also in the international community. The charm of Alicante will do the rest and will keep them and enchant them.
Yeah. It seems like it is going to be such a pivotal event. Like you guys are starting something that has the potential to really make such a big impact in the future. So that's a beautiful thing to see and also be a part of. So as you mentioned, for the people traveling to Alicante, what tips can you share about what they can do to get the most out of the city while they're in town, if maybe they're only in town for the time of the conference or maybe a week afterwards?
Yeah, I think Alicante is such a good city to explore, even in a few days, because it's not huge. You don't have to see 1,000 monuments or highlights. It's very much about like enjoying and just being here and like enjoying the food, enjoying nature, the weather. Like it's very laid back, and this is, I think, a main attractive that even like by staying a few days you can already get the best of. Yeah, there are also like many things in the surrounding. You can even like rent a car and go up to Valencia. But even staying here, like there are like good places to eat. You can co-work, and you can also get to like meet the existing community. There are like many nice beaches. It depends a bit of what you want, but also very lively nightlife. Right now we are celebrating Carnival, so there is a bit going on in the city center. Yeah, it's a very authentic place. I also feel like to discover in Spain. It's still not so gentrified. Like you can find very authentic locations, neighborhoods that give you like a feeling of real Spain. So I think that's also like very nice part of Alicante.
That's good to know. And that's actually one of the things that I've noticed traveling as well is we end up in these expat or digital nomad hubs where, you have the same smoothie bowl place, like the vegan co-working shop. And then you miss a bit of that authenticity of the reason why you're traveling to begin with is to experience different cultures and actually get to know people and connect with different perspectives. And yeah, when we just stick in our bubble, it's really hard to do that. It sounds like Alicante has a good balance of those items. And like, what are some of your favorite, personally, what are your favorite things to do in the city? Like if you were going to meetups or events on the weekend, what are some things that you are generally drawn to in Alicante?
So for me, I'm very much into like nature and being outside and being active. And so for me, Alicante has a lot of these things. So basically, I would say it's one of the, at least for Spain, it's one of the rare cities that has the beach directly in the city center. So you can walk in 2 minutes or 5 minutes from the city center to the beach. And then it's beach after like one beach after another. What I sometimes would have been doing, I would just go out for a walk, and you can walk like for 2 hours, just following the water. And it's very different. And there are like beautiful spots where you can see the sunset, and that are also very different from the vibes. You have like the sandy beach, the classic Mediterranean shot that you would expect. But then if you follow on, you have like rocky beaches and even like some Roman, like, I don't know how to say it in English, like some Roman swimming pools, like that are still, they are
Oh, wow.
carved in the stone. And you can see them, and you're just walking past them, and it's like, oh wow, even like 2,000 years ago, the Romans have been chilling here next to me. I think when I moved here, I felt a little bit like Alicante brought out this inner child in me, because in Germany, for example, everything is fenced off and you can only follow down this one path. And I have the feeling in Spain, or generally, but also in Alicante, you can just jump from rocks to rocks. So it's a little bit like a big playground also. And I really love this about the city, that it feels very like, it brings out this like inner child a little bit, at least for me.
Yeah, I can also confirm that compared to Switzerland and Germany and other places that have a lot of reglementation, I feel Spain is very laid back in that sense. People will probably not complain if you speak loud, if you're working in a cafe and you're having a meeting. These are things that are more accepted, and it gives you a bit more freedom. Like, of course, you want to be respectful, and there are limits, but I think like there is a kind of freedom that you have that makes you feel more at home, and like it's okay to be a bit more like outside of the norm sometimes.
Do you find that there are barriers based off of language or culture, or do you feel that the city is very open and welcoming to people regardless of your Spanish level or where you're coming in from?
The city is really open, and Spain in general. And it's amazing that all foreigners, expats, remote workers who stay for longer here, they actually learn Spanish, and not because they're forced to, or whether there's a problem in communication. But we just want to know it because we know we want to connect with the locals. Although I had never felt judged by Spanish people for not speaking the language, but I'm learning it now. Johanna obviously knows it because it's her mother tongue. Then Fabian has learned it, and I'm learning it now. So I think everybody eventually starts speaking the language. But even if you don't, you would never feel bad. I think people are very open and welcoming.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I mean, I personally love Spanish, and I think that it is such a great language to learn, especially if you're nomading, because it unlocks a whole continent and Spain for you. And you can connect with people so easily just with one language, which is unheard of. So I love that it's welcoming even if you don't speak it, but there's a good incentive to learn if you are interested.
I think it makes you connect better to locals, right? Like you can, of course, be inside your bubble, but if you want to go outside of that nomad bubble, it's always good to know Spanish. So yeah, that's like the whole point, right? As you were saying, like to have a different experience and to get to know really a place, because I do feel like when you don't know the language, you get to know so much of a place, but not the entirety, because you cannot understand the whole culture. Yeah, it's definitely helpful, I think.
Yeah, it gives you a deeper layer to understanding the location and the people of where you're living. So as you've been organizing this summit, and you guys have done a lot of work in such short amounts of time, what has been the most rewarding part of organizing this summit? And if there are any memorable moments or challenges that come to mind that you'd like to share?
Well, for me, it's just the whole feeling of creating this on the go and how many things we learn every day. Then the other great surprise was our dynamics, how well we match, the all five of us, which is something that was not planned. It just happened. We are very different, but somehow we really fit in and we find our place. Communication with speakers has been also very interesting. And we fell in love with all the speakers. In the end, we had this problem that we needed to discriminate. But from them, we had so many ideas about more and more topics and more content. Maybe for the next time, we cannot fit everything in. But so many issues and topics occurred and showed up that we haven't even thought about it. For example, about the legal side of living in another country, being from a different part of the world, because we can speak about Europe, but actually the situation for other people is very, very different. And many other topics. So this has been very exciting.
Yeah, I think I can just confirm that, like, we have so many more topics that we could discuss, like, in more years to come. We just had a limited time of 2 days, so it's been learning on the go, like also how to find like the venues aligning with the local government, like with the town hall. So many things that probably we would do better next time. It's an experiment, so I think like we have a lot. We have already learned a lot, and I think we still will learn until the date and after the event, for sure. But yeah, it makes it easier to have a great team and to have the support. And as you were saying also in the beginning, like we have all like a full-time job, and still we kind of make it work to meet all the speakers, to meet each other on a regular basis, to go to co-workings together, discuss like all the important issues. That's really not like a given. Like you would not have this with just everyone. And this was very lucky to have that kind of support inside the team.
Yeah, connection is important. And it seems like that is the foundation of what you guys are building, both internally and externally for the attendees.
I just wanted to add on what Johanna was saying, that I think we all are very committed to make this a great event. And I think this commitment is also, for me, what has been something that was rewarding, no? Like to see that everybody really is like, was from the first moment or from our first meeting, we said, yeah, let's do it. And since then we just continue to all of us being committed, despite having the jobs, despite having sometimes, like, let's say, additional work, no, that you have to organize, because I think maybe in the beginning also nobody was aware of all the little details, that involve like organizing an event of 2 days, or all the things that you have to think of, from designing like lawn yards, for the participants,
wow.
to organizing all the space, for example, or the agenda, structuring the agendas. I think I'm very looking forward how also now this last final month is going to go until the event, but I'm very optimistic that we will have a nice time in the 4th and 5th of April.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I know a lot of people signed up, and the speakers are also looking forward to this event. And you guys, we're all excited. Well, me even more so after this podcast too. If you could sum up Alicante Nomad Summit in 3 words, what would be the word that you would choose to sum up?
My word would be connection, I think. Like, as you were saying before, like it's all about connection. And this is what we are creating the event for. We want to create connection, like on a professional level, on a personal level, friendships, relationships, like so many things form after these events, and you never know what's going out of it. It's supposed to create all kind of connections, and that's that's our goal.
I would say inclusion. I think this is the main vibe I got for myself from Alicante, and from most of the events that I have attended here were always people from different ages, different backgrounds or professions, and there was never a feeling of awkwardness. It has always been really easygoing and nice, and this is what Alicante symbolizes for me, and what I think the team as well want to convey as a message.
I think for me, the last word would be inspiration. Also what we touched upon, also for new nomads, that to come to an event and also to a small conference or a conference just starting off can be a great way to be inspired, because you can be very close to the speakers, to other people. So I think this is what I have been taken away so far already from organizing the event, but also what I really hope for these 2 days, that they will be full of inspiration and insights, and yeah.
Love that. Connection, inclusion, and inspiration. What a beautiful way to sum up the Alicante Nomad Summit. So for anyone who is still on the fence about attending, what would you say to convince them to take the leap and head to Alicante?
Don't think about it too much. We want to meet you, say hi, and you won't be sorry. We take it from there, and we will co-create this, give it a meaning together.
Amazing. And if anyone wanted to reach out for any questions, buy any tickets, or partner with you all for this or future events, what's the best way to reach you and your team?
We have a website, alicantenomadsummit.com. There you can buy the tickets, you can find out all the information, also see who's going to be the speakers. We also have a site on LinkedIn. We have an event on LinkedIn. We are on Instagram, but through the Nomad Way app. So there is also a way to see information on the event, but also on the work that Nomad Way is doing and on the other events.
There's an email, team@Alicante Nomad Summit, for questions.
Amazing. I will put that all into the show notes so that anyone listening has access to be able to reach you and get more information regarding the event. Thank you all so much for joining today and sharing so many insights about the planning process and your intentions in this event. I think it's going to be such an amazing thing you guys are hosting, and I can't wait to be there soon.
Thank you for having us. Great.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and I will see everyone all on the next adventure. Until next time, keep exploring, connecting, and playing, and safe travels, navigators.